What's up, guys? Stas here. So would you take a look at the stock market futures? The S&P 500 currently up 0.55%, up about 18 points. The Nasdaq futures up 51 points, up about 0.5%, with the Dow Jones futures up 165 points, 0.6% in the green. And this is on the back of an incredible Friday in the stock market. If you guys didn't catch it, the markets, the Russell 2000, Nasdaq, Dow, S&P, they were all up about 3 to 4% on Friday due to an incredible non-farm payroll number that we got. 2.5 million jobs in May were added, and this completely blew away the expectations. The expectations were that I think, like 7-8 million jobs were supposed to be lost. So this completely blew the stock market up, and it seems like the futures are continuing. But in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about and break down some technicals, taking a look at the markets, and I want to go over, are we going to see a pull down? At some point, we're going to see this pull down, and I want to go over where the markets could potentially go to. And I also want to talk about a bunch of stocks that I'm looking to trade, that I'm looking to buy heading into this week in the stock market. And quite frankly, these are stocks I'm looking to buy and trade for the rest of this month of June and beyond. So if you guys enjoyed the video, as always, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and check out all the free links down below in the description if you want 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400, and if you want to be a part of the Discord chat and Facebook group, and all of those are free of charge. So let's just jump right into it, going to the SPY. And we all know, well, many of us do at least, the SPY is an S&P 500 ETF, and many people out there use this to gauge the entire market. And right off the bat on the 6-month chart, it's very evident, it's very obvious that we're overbought. Would you take a look at the RSI here, guys? It's at 77. Last week, it peaked at 83. And if you guys don't know how the RSI works, pretty much we're in a level, or there's a range, right, between 30 and 70. The closer this line is to 30, the more oversold a stock ETF index is, right? But the closer it is to 70 and above 70, the more overbought it is. And we're clearly at a point now where the S&P has not seen a significant pull down, guys, literally in about, 2-3 weeks, ever since the 20th of May. Yeah, we saw a little pull down towards the end of May, but it really wasn't anything. Last week, we saw a little bit of a pull down as well, pre-market, after market hours on the 3rd, right? But either way, it hasn't really been a big pull down. And going back to that full chart, you guys can see a couple of spots that I could see the S&P going to, because again, everything that goes up, it's going to come down at some point, right? And we've seen in the past, the S&P 500 and SPY here has held support in 2 different spots, both the 180 and the 50 SMA. And honestly, the 50 SMA has been a major support, more of a support than the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. So that's telling me that if we see a bit of a pull down here on the S&P, I'm looking for 312. 312 is the first pull down target that I'm looking at. That's going to put us at a point of previous resistance from the beginning of March, right? And the goal here is to hold it as a new support. Well, the goal for the bulls at least, right? And let's say we break 312, a more healthy pull down, a healthier pull down would be at 307, right? That'd be even better in my opinion, especially if you're a swing trader looking to pick up some stocks on the dip, right? So from 319 to 312, it's not an incredible pull down, but it'd be around a 2% pull down. And from 319, maybe down to 307, which would be even better, that's going to be a pull down of around 4 to 5%. And at this point, guys, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. Because again, everything that gets overheated at some point, it's going to pull down. And watch out for those levels that I just mentioned, and just wait for the confirmation of the pull down. And again, we could end up getting into some interesting swing trades if that does end up happening. And at this point, guys, you all know, especially if you've been following the channel, I'm not forcing anything, especially with the markets being incredibly overinflated right now, at least in my personal opinion. opinion. So I'm waiting for that pull down. And when it comes down to the Nasdaq futures, let's take a look here. Maybe we pull down, test 9,700, which you guys know is the previous all-time high. So watch out for that level as support on the Nasdaq. And for the Dow Jones, guys, you can see it was up 800 points on Friday. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm thinking if we don't hold 27,000, we might have a bigger pull down, maybe to 26,400, and heck, maybe even 25,800. I know that's pretty drastic. That's about a 1,400 point haircut. But judging on this chart, it's going to be pushing it, at that point, we'll be closer to that 50 SMA, which again, like the S&P on the Dow as well, it's acted as a support ever since we've been recovering in the stock market. So overall, guys, the markets are overheated. Does this mean that we're going to, fall off a cliff 30%? I don't think so, right? With all the Fed intervention, the economy's reopening, we saw 2.5 million jobs added. Mind you, most of these jobs are in restaurants, at least from my memory here, which makes sense, right? Because again, the economy's reopening, restaurants are reopening. So just keep an eye on these levels, guys. It's going to be very, very important, moving forward. And that's kind of what I'm personally waiting for. And as always, I'd love to know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on the markets? Do you see a pull down coming? Do you see all-time highs before we get a significant pull down? Well, we already got all-time highs in the Nasdaq, but I'd love to know what you guys have to think down below in the comment section. So let's get into this, the top stocks now. And the first one here is one that I actually bought on Friday in my swing trading account. I'm also a long-term investor in this one. It is NIO, ticker symbol NIO. This is a Chinese electric vehicle company. And we can see, guys, the stock's been on an absolute tear, right? We've broken 450 major resistance. We've broken $5 major resistance. We've broken 550, which is also a major resistance. And we peaked at about 620 here. And on the 4-hour chart, yeah, we're at an all-time high based on the 4-hour chart. But if we pull back a bit on the 3-year chart, and mind you, this this company IPO'd, 2017-18, you guys can see there's a lot more potential. And right now, this is a huge resistance on the stock at about $6 to about $6.20. So I'm thinking if we break out of 6 into the 650s, watch out above. This stock could easily go back up into the 7s, the 8s, and the 9s. And if you guys don't recall, Goldman Sachs actually upgraded NIO to a buy. And they actually have some lofty guidance numbers for the next quarter that if they actually hit and exceed these numbers and they guide better for the following quarter, this stock could go berserk, right? And although we don't take analysts' expectations, their buy, their sell signals 100% as a fact, right? We always take it as a grain of salt. It's good to see it at the end of the day. It's good to see a stock, especially one that you own, upgraded as a buy, because many people out there, when they see that, they do take this as a fact, right? They do take analysts' opinions as the golden opinion, and they just buy into the stock, right? So we might see a lot of volume here. I mean, we're already seeing a lot of volume, but we might see a lot more forward upwards momentum in the stock, and that's kind of what I'm watching here. I'm personally in at about I bought at 577 last Friday, or this past Friday, and my long-term investment, I've been buying in the $2 and the $3 range, and that's actually stemming back now like a year and a half, where I first started buying the shares. But overall, that is the first stock that I'm watching for this upcoming week. The next one is Costco, ticker symbol COST. And let me show you guys what Costco did last week that I really like. We actually filled the gap up in its entirety from $307 to about $311 to $312. And if you guys notice on this 4-hour chart, actually, let's use this 90-day chart. If you guys see this 90-day chart, we're in a wedge right now in Costco. We broke out of 307, again, like I just said, major old resistance. And at this point, we're consolidating under 312 to about 314, which is also a range of resistance. We've seen this point in the past. We've seen a lot of pressure, selling pressure at this point in the past. So in my opinion, guys, Obviously, if we get rejected and we start to see that selling pressure again, we start breaking down low 300s, that's not going to be good. But if we end up seeing a break out of this resistance, again, where we're consolidating at 311, 314, and we start to make our way up to the mid 315s, 320s, etc., that could offer a 3% potential for a swing trade, right? And with the markets, again, gapping up right now, all the stimulus, economy reopening, I would not be surprised if we did get that pop this week in Costco. So that's kind of what I'm watching here. But again, be mindful that this is a place where people have sold a lot in the past, at least based on these technicals. So be mindful. I'm looking for the breakup, again, like I said. And if we do get that, I'll end up buying in. So StarBucks, SBUX is the next one that I'm watching heavily for this week. We actually called this one out, I believe, Wednesday, Thursday. I forget exactly what day, but we called it out at about $79, saying that if $79, $80 breaks, it's going to fill up. It's going to see a lot of bullish momentum, and we got exactly that, right? We saw a huge resistance at $80, stemming from the past couple of weeks at this point, ever since the middle of April here, so about 2 months almost. And once we broke that, again, a lot of momentum came in, and now you actually see that we held 81.50, and we're up a bit after market hours in the Friday session up into the 82s, which 81.50 is a support. So that's a very good sign here for StarBucks. So at this point, guys, am I rushing into StarBucks? Probably not. We're a bit overbought. RSI is close to 80. I'd actually like to see a pull down, quite honestly, and a retest at $80. I think that could be a fantastic entry. But if we also get a big green day in the markets tomorrow, we see large caps up pre-market, which could really hint that we're going to see a pop in the markets. We might not pull down. We might actually rally all the way up to $84.50, $85, which is the next resistance. So watch out, 82 to 85, that's possible, of about a 4% move. Or watch the pull down to 80. $80 to 85 would be about a 5 to 6% move. So keep an eye here on StarBucks. Ticker symbol SBUX. And you guys know the gaming stocks, and I'm not talking Electronic Arts and Activision Blizzard and those great companies. I'm talking about the casino stocks. As the economy's been reopening, we've seen airlines explode, casino stocks explode, Carnival, Cruise Line, which is a cruise stock, explode, and Wynn has, completely exploded as well. $35 was the low back in March. I wish I just put my entire account into Wynn, guys, but again, hindsight's 2020. Anybody can say that, oh yeah, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, but did you do it? If you didn't, then don't worry about it. Focus on the next move, right? Which is what I'm doing right now. And on Friday, we saw Wynn was up 6.5%, up $6.20. And like many of these stocks, they're a bit overbought. Wynn's a bit overbought. So at this point, I'd actually be a buyer at $95 to $94. I'd actually like to see a pull down and a retest at that price point. At that point, guys, we can get about a 7% discount on the stock from where it is right now at about $101, and we can get it at a less overbought price. And as a swing trader, buying the dips is what I do, and buying stocks that have a lot of upwards momentum, again, like the gaming stocks, the casino stocks, the airline stocks, it's what I'm looking for right now, to be honest, at least for short-term moves. Long-term investments, it's different. I'm not touching these stocks for long-term investments, but for short-term stuff, I'm absolutely looking at them. So for Wynn, guys, and this could also hold 102 as this is a support, but again, being overbought, I'd want to pick my shares up in the 90s, preferably around 93 to $94. So that's Wynn, YNN. The next one is Square, ticker symbol SQ. This one actually hit $92 last week. We pulled down to about 85. This would have been a great entry point, but I personally missed it. And we saw a 2.5% green day here on Friday. So at this point, guys, it's clear the uptrend is continuing. On the hourly chart, you guys can see it, okay? We pulled down on Thursday. We hit a higher low on Thursday. We popped up on Friday, continuing that uptrend, continuing that momentum. So for tomorrow, guys, I'm honestly looking to pick up some shares in the 90s, the 89s, and on this continuation, right? If we pull down and completely dump to 85 again, 88, that wouldn't be too attractive. I'd like to see a support on the 180 SMA at that point. But overall, guys, I think there's a lot of upside momentum here on Square. Going to the 3-year chart, you guys can see we broke a huge resistance between 80 to 85 bucks. That's been a selling zone over the past year at this point, year and a half, right? So at this point, now that we broke 85, I think these shares are going to the hundreds. So I'm going to pick up probably some shares sometime this week, depending on if it pans out to the plan that I just stated to you guys. And you guys have to have some hedges, right? Not all these stocks are going to continue going up forever, right? Well, in the short term, like I said earlier in the video, if we get that pull down, obviously, the pull down in the S&P 500, obviously, all of these stocks are probably going to get hit with the exception of maybe NEO, since it's a kind of a spec play. It's kind of a Chinese stock that a lot of the time, small cap stocks, they're in a world of their own, right? So that might do well regardless of the S&P going down. But what I can tell you is if the S&P goes down, a lot of large caps will go down as well. And what would go up most likely? Gold. And gold has been slaughtered. Let's not blow it out of proportion. It hasn't been crushed completely, but it's lost $100 from its peak at $17.80. It's currently trending at $16.80, so about a $105 drop there in the gold futures. So if the markets, dump and people flood to safe haven assets like gold, which would easily happen, and we've seen it happen in the past, we could trade multiple ETFs. One is GLD. GLD goes up whenever the price of gold goes up. It's simply an ETF that tracks the price of gold. So this could be a play here. You guys can see on, let's say, the 4-hour chart, GLD clearly lost, it's losing momentum. Clear resistance at about 165, 166, but at this point we're actually at 158, which is a major support. So watch out for GLD here. To the upside, we have about 5% potential, and again, that will do well if gold does well and if the markets pull down. And another one here is GDX, a gold miners ETF. These are miner stocks. These don't track the price of gold like GLD, but they typically do well when gold is doing well because gold stocks derive their profits from the price of gold. And as gold goes higher and higher, they're making more money. It's good for these miner stocks for the price of gold to go up. So this could be a great way to hedge as well, GDX, and again, GLD. SLV is another one if you're interested in silver. SLV is the same thing as GLD, but the only difference is it tracks the price of silver, right? So silver is /SI, the futures. Keep an eye on these futures. They're actually on a pretty solid pull down. Silver's lost about 9-10%. So if you're looking to buy metals on the dip, this could be your opportunity, right? Am I a metal salesman? Absolutely not. I'm just a person on YouTube that is giving my what I'm doing and my thoughts at this point. And of course, don't buy anything based on my opinion. This is not financial advice. You always have to do your own research. But again, I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing here. So silver, SLV, gold, GLD, GDX, all of these will be hedges if the market does end up taking a massive dump and falling down. Virgin Galactic is another one, kind of like NEO, right? This stock is in a world of its own. It's a smaller cap company. It's kind of, what's the word here? It's detached from the stock market, kind of, right? Sometimes it does go down when the markets go down, but I've seen Virgin Galactic have a ridiculous day when we saw the S&P down a lot. So it's kind of that type of stock. And overall, guys, we're seeing the overall trend here, $42 down to about $8. And overall, we're in a wedge, right? Higher lows and lower highs at the same time. So for this week, I'm looking to see what is Virgin Galactic going to do? Which direction is it going to pick? If it dumps down, excuse me, guys, into let's say the 15s, low 15s, it might test this support at around 1460. That's if it breaks 15, right? And if we pop, guys, the upside potential here, which I'm actually long SPCE here, and I obviously think it's going to go up long term. The upside here would be if we break, $16, $17.50, and the break of the resistance of the wedge is around 1750. So if we break that into the 19s, guys, this is where I think the stock's going to ultimately break out. So watch SPCE at that point. And the last couple here that I want to talk to you guys about, one of them is also one that's very overbought but worth watching due to the momentum. It's Boeing, ticker symbol BA. This had a 12% green day, guys, up 21 points on Friday. But again, it's arguably the most overbought stock in the stock market, so I'm by no means looking to get into this one at this point, but a support that I'm watching is going to be 180. If we pull down, start to see some support, consolidation at 180, 185, that could be an opportunity for a short-term trade. So watch BA. And the last two that I'll leave you guys here with, both hedges, again, to the markets. They're a bit different than gold, but they're leveraged ETFs. So one is SQQQ. This goes up whenever the Nasdaq is going down. So let's say the Nasdaq dumps. Again, we hit an all-time high in the Nasdaq. Let's say it pulls down to a healthy range, maybe 9,500, 50 SMA support here on the 4-hour chart. That's going to be about a 4 to 5% pull down in the Nasdaq. And how SQQ works, since it's a 3x leveraged ETF, if the Nasdaq goes down that 5%, there's going to be around 15% potential here with SQQQ, right? So definitely watch this one. And again, trade at your own risk, guys. These leveraged ETFs, they're not meant to be held long term. They're just meant to be tools for day traders. And always read the prospectus on all of these ETFs. It's very important so you can understand how they actually work and get an in-depth analysis of how they work, right? And another one here is SPXS, the same thing as SQQQ, but the only difference is it tracks the S&P 500. So let's say the S&P 500 goes down 3%. This will be up about 9%, right? Roughly. So overall, guys, that is it for this video. Some thoughts on the market, stocks that I'm watching for this upcoming week. If you guys did enjoy it, as always, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button. Let's try to get 250 plus likes on this video. And as always, let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on the market, stocks you're watching, and just in general, what are you thinking? I'd love to know. And if you have any counter arguments to what I've said in this video, I love hearing the opposite opinion of what I have, you know, when it comes to trading, investing, any thoughts, ideas, whatever. So drop those comments down below. And if you guys want 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400, that's also linked down below in the description. All you have to do is put in $100 into the platform and you get those 2 free stocks. So I'll catch you all in the next video. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. As always, crush it this week in the markets. Peace out, guys.